What's up, Michelle here, and this is the video interview that I did between me and Dr Melissa Monroe. And she's an absolutely amazing individual. She's a beacon of hope and light. She suffered tragic loss, and she's never given up. She's used her experiences to help and inspire other people, and that is just beautiful. And she reads some of her upcoming book out towards the end of the video, and it really is moving and inspirational. She is an author, she's a doctor, she's got a PhD. She runs a business, blog, and all of that. I've put all of that in the description if you want to check her out. And yeah, if you don't mind pressing that subscribe button so you get more inspirational interviews with people. And also, at 1.5 thousand, I'm doing another giveaway, and you will decide what it is. But yeah, I hope you enjoy the interview. I really love, meeting these inspiring people and connecting. It really does mean the world to me. And thank you so, so much, Melissa, for making it possible. All right, coming up.
Hi.
Hiya.
We did it.
We're finally here.
We did. We did it. Yay for us.
Yeah, I'm sorry about the letdowns a couple of times, but like I said, I was tired, and then Ghost invaded my property twice, so it's like,
Things happen. It's okay.
Yeah.
We're here now.
Yeah. So how's your Tuesday going?
So far so good. It's the early part of the day for me. So you're my first big thing. Mainly ate breakfast, walked the dog, got the dog settled, and looking forward to this chat with you.
Where are you again? You're in California, that's right, yeah.
I'm in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
Okay,
for everyone that I'm connecting with seems to be in sunny California, and I'm in bloody snowy Leeds.
I miss the weather though. I grew up in the Midwest where we have weather, and I miss it. I don't miss, I never lived where it rained every day. So I don't know if I'd love that, but, but yeah, California's not too bad.
I'd like to visit actually one day. Yeah, I was saying to Rachel as well, I'm thinking of visiting once I save up, just go down the coast,
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'd love to have you.
Yeah. So yeah, the reason why I'm reaching out to you is because I do class you as an inspiring individual. I've been going through all the lists. And yeah, you an author, you've obviously had a shock and a lot of grief and the after effects of that. And you own businesses, and you're a doctor, and you've got all these qualifications, and you're here, and you're showing people that people can survive after trauma. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I've added you to my inspirational list.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot to me. Yes. So for those that don't know, in 2013, about 11 days after my youngest daughter turned 2, I went to wake her up from her nap, and she was dead. I did try CPR, but it was too late. The autopsy was inconclusive, months and months of testing. We still, to this day, 8.5, almost 9 years later, don't know why she died. So that type of death is classified as SUDC, or sudden unexplained death in childhood. It basically just means that after a thorough death investigation, they found nothing wrong with her. So obviously that was a horrible shock that I wouldn't wish on a single other person in this world. I had PTSD after, aside from grief, obviously. It became clear about 8 weeks later that I had PTSD. I was having panic attacks, which I had never had before. Maybe in high school I had a couple over like a chemistry test or something like that, but I had never had, a real, like, do I need to go to the hospital kind of panic attack. I was having panic attacks. I wasn't sleeping. I kept having intrusive images of the state she was in when I found her. And I have a very, very dear friend that I've known since college, who is a federal agent, and he was a lieutenant colonel in the military. And after a few weeks, I started to notice that the panic attacks happened. I started to piece together, oh, they're always happening on Tuesday. They're always happening at like around 2:30, and it became clear that these panic attacks were happening around the time she died, on the day she died. But you can't really piece that together in the beginning, and a lot of trauma symptoms you can't. Until you have enough data points, until it's happened enough times, you can't really, see a pattern. And then the next day I would feel this really like a strange peace. When I was explaining this to my friend, Tommy is his name, he said, my work partner has symptoms like that, and he has PTSD. And I was like, I don't have PTSD. That's for people who see, a village annihilated, or, lose their limb in war. He was like, I know many people who've been in combat, and they would all say what happened to you is worse. And I was like, no. But then I remembered from my work, I was like, this intrusive images, check. Panic attacks, check. Sleep disturbances, check. Oh yeah, shit. I have a potty mouth. I hope that's not going to be a problem. I was like, oh yeah, I have PTSD. So there was a sliding scale counseling center in our area called Southern California Counseling Center, and I asked them, I knew I was probably in for some long-term therapy anyway, and over here, healthcare access is a huge problem. So I asked them if they had.
It's getting that way over here. It costs a bomb.
Yeah, it's really. Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. But I asked them if they had a type of therapy called EMDR, eye mobilization, desensitization, and reprocessing, that I thankfully knew about before this happened. So that I was able to ask for it right away, and it changed everything. They do it in, I don't know if you've had that type of therapy, but they generally do it in chunks of 8 sessions. And I want to say I was also crippled by guilt. Like I was convinced.
EMDR, no, I've not had that, but I've done the counselling and the psychotherapies.
Yeah, the EMDR is a somatic or a body-based. Brain spotting is another one. There's several, and I highly recommend one of the somatic-based therapies for trauma. It's just like it's. Within 5 sessions, it was clear to me I could have been in talk therapy for decades and never would have arrived at the place I arrived in even 5 sessions. And by 8, it was very different. About a year later, I was re-triggered, and I did another round of EMDR. And the second session of that second round changed my entire life. So very, very, very effective. I was also crippled by guilt, something I forgot to mention. I was convinced, when you don't have something to blame, when it's not a drunk driver or a shooter or cancer or whatever, we tend to there was nothing to be angry at because we didn't know what happened. So I've learned that I was not unique. Many SUDC parents were also crippled by guilt. You're just going through your mind. Did we have a gas leak? Did I give her too much Tylenol? Did I, you're convinced that you did something wrong. And I want to say by the 5th session of EMDR, no more guilt. Never, my guilt spirals were, very scary, and it was very clear to me that no one can survive this level of guilt. It's so intense. It felt like the guilt alone could kill me. It felt like little poison packets going off one at a time, and one packet wasn't enough to kill me, but eventually it would kill me. So by 5 sessions, I had no more guilt or intrusive images, and I never have again. I've had other symptoms get activated. Like my first, when I know I have to be careful is if my sleep gets off. And then I know I have to batten down the hatches. It's all about self-care. I'm not doing anything other than, taking care of my daughter, bare minimum that I need to do to work, and getting to sleep. So
There's nothing wrong with that, A lot of people, sometimes it is, sometimes just literally going back to the basics is what's needed. And I mean,
mm-hmm.
I can't relate to losing a child, but I can relate to not having an answer in that
Mm-hmm.
sense, like
Mm-hmm.
the lack of closure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, the book that you're writing, the Mum's Search for Meaning, I think
Mm-hmm.
that kind of giving you closure is as well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and the point of the book is, we're so trained, especially by media, movies, and even each other. It's just so encoded in us to get closure. I certainly don't, and probably never will have closure for my daughter's death. But there's so many things in life for which we'll never have closure, and
Mm-hmm.
if we wait to live until we get closure,
We'll never live.
we'll never live.
Exactly. I mean, like I was
The
locked up a
living
minute.
is the closure.
It is, yeah. I mean, I never got answers to why I got put in the hospital. I never got answers to why I was abused for years, and I never got an apology for it. Do you know what I mean? But I've just thought, fuck it. I'm gonna live my life, and I don't forgive those people at all. But I just use it as strength to my creativity and what I do, and I want to inspire and continue on because I know that if I gave up, that would let them win, and I couldn't have that. Mm-mm.
No, I'm very proud of you, and I'm so sorry for everything you've been through. It's harrowing.
Well, same back to you as well.
Oh,
It's
thank you.
everyone's got their own level of your own individual thing. Do you know what I mean? Not one thing is bigger than the other. Everyone's pain is different, and
Yep.
I couldn't imagine what it's like, But you're here today, and you're very inspiring, And I've looked at all the qualifications you've got, and some of them was like bloody hell, like all the Oriental medicine and acupuncture, and you did your thesis on. I can't even read. I can't even remember what it is, but I didn't even understand what it was. It's like Jesus.
the I'm a geek,
Study,
I like to learn. So it's
I love
not for
studying.
everyone, but I like it.
I love
Um,
studying as well, but not in science. But I like English. In
mm-hmm.
my final year of my undergraduate degree in English, I'm hoping to do a master's. It depends. Um, but that for me has been a big medicine as well. Just embracing study. Because it gives you something to focus on, doesn't it? And then
It
when you get
does.
the grades back, and then you just improve and improve.
The other thing it does for you is after trauma, the front part of your brain that's in charge of your executive functioning is shuts down, um, and then so the memories get stuck in the limbic system and the emotional part of your brain,
Mm.
and it's also the timekeeper part of your brain is there, which is why flashbacks are a problem and those
Mm.
repeated loops. So anything that require writing, studying, and all of those things help bring the your executive functioning back, and it's very helpful. And it also gives you a purpose and a reason
Mhm.
to get up, and
Yeah, I found
a drive, and a reason to keep slugging away.
definitely. It's like makes you proud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And self-esteem is also huge, because self-esteem, no matter what the trauma is, pardon me, even if the trauma has nothing to do with like body shaming or anything like that, trauma um, a lot of times destroys self-esteem because it disrupts our sense of agency, our
Mhm.
our sense that we can handle the things that life has thrown us. So it really, one's self-esteem really does take a hit. And so anything that you can do to, build your self-esteem. And sometimes that is as simple as, I haven't been able to get out of bed
Exactly,
for
yeah.
3 days, but today I got out of bed and I made myself a breakfast and I did the dishes,
And that is a
and
big thing.
that's a big thing, and
Yeah.
celebrate it. One thing I had to learn, my therapist retired inconveniently right before COVID, and we thought, oh yeah, you're doing pretty good, it'll be all right. And then COVID hit, and I called him like, nice timing, dude.
Exactly,
You
yeah.
left us all hanging in like this catastrophic global event. But one thing that he would say to me a lot is like, what did you do for fun today or this week? And I would tell him something and he'd say, that's not fun. And I'd say, I think it's fun. He's like,
Exactly,
yeah,
yeah.
it's not fun. Studying's not fun. Studying's important. Studying is helpful. It's good, but it's not
I
fun.
mean, this is some kiddies here, you know?
Yeah.
I find it fun.
Yeah. I was like,
English.
I think it's fun. He said, no. Fun. So we worked on that. And the other thing he would ask me a lot related to what you just said was, oh no, I lost my train of thought. Fun and, ah, he pointed out to me that I didn't celebrate any of my accomplishments, big or small.
You need to, yeah, I do a little gratitude journal. I mean,
Yeah, I was
listen,
grateful. I had gratitude. And gratitude actually saved me. Like I had so
yeah,
much gratitude for all of
and it,
the support, but I didn't notice my own accomplishment at all. Like he said, what did you do when you got your degree? Oh, I thought, I got to make business cards. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to da 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 da. He's like, yeah, you're on to the next thing. Like you didn't even celebrate it for a minute, and you're really not celebrating. If you're not celebrating the big things, you're certainly not celebrating your little wins. Like I got out of bed today and made breakfast or whatever. So I really have learned, and I'm to celebrate the little wins and big
mhm,
ones also. But I realized I was never going to celebrate the big ones until I started celebrating the little ones. And so now I write those down, or I'll call a friend. And I grew up in the Midwest, and everything is like, don't, be humble, don't, and that really, those are all maybe good points, but it messed me up a little bit. Because then I didn't have some really important tools when life got super scary. So I really learned to, and this is one of the most important things I've learned, that I must take time to celebrate the little wins, and then actually do it. Call a friend and say, like, let's go have a drink. Let's or let's get ice cream, or like, with my daughter, or somehow acknowledge it. Like, this was a little win. This was something that I was nervous about. And I did it. And maybe it was like the first query I sent for my book. I was terrified. I'd never done it. I don't know anything about the publishing industry. And but I did it, and then I celebrated it. So learning to celebrate those little victories is so important for all of us, but I think especially those of us who have experienced a trauma.
yeah, and I agree to that completely. It doesn't have to be, a massive thing. It could literally be, for me, I'm really bad at like doing the dishes. So like the other day I did all the dishes, I cleaned the
Mhm.
kitchen, and then I got myself a pizza. It's like, you did it.
Yes, good girl. That's a spirit.
A lot of people
Congratulations.
a lot of people don't understand this, you know what I mean? Because I've said to a few other people, like, there's always something to be positive about, always. Like, even if you're in the midst of depression, I
Mm-hmm.
don't believe in reincarnation. So it's like, for me, the fact that we've been given life, it is important to actually look at what you have. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for me, I don't live in the best area, a lot of gangsters about, but, I've got savings, I've got food, I've got good grades, I've got people that love me. And I do write it down in this book every day, you know?
Good, good. We keep a gratitude list here also. And it's also important to tell the people close to us, you know, that thing you did really helped me, or that thing you said really helped me. And then you don't have to remember to do it. So once you just start doing it, and once you really do acknowledge, like, wow, you know, I met someone in a wheelchair today, and I really feel for them, and I'm very grateful that I have use of my legs. Or I met someone going, you know, who's going through cancer, and I'm very great. I feel for them, and I'm going to do my best to help them. And I need to be grateful for my health. Like, so it's really important to be grateful for, you know, all the little things that we take for granted.
And also be altruistic at the same time, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Do you want to speak, you know, do you want to just talk a little bit more about the book and the style of the writing and, you know, etc.? I'm just
Sure.
I'm just coming up with these questions off the top of my head again. I just think it's more natural rather than just to read from a sheet like that.
Oh, that's fine. So yeah, the book that I'm in the process of querying now is the title is Mom's Search for Meaning, and so it starts with a short introduction. Although now I might have to change that, but that's another story. After a short introduction, it starts with the day that it happened, and then takes the reader through about a year and a half to that EMDR session that really changed everything. And in that EMDR session, so the final chapter kind of repeats the first chapter, but because of the therapy, and the way that the therapy works, it gives you like a helicopter view of the trauma. And I was able to isolate in that therapy session, I was able to isolate the exact nanosecond that I took responsibility for everything.
Okay.
And I was able to work with that moment. And when I realized that in that therapy session, and it changed everything. Like, I felt my whole body change. I felt like I had that a hand that was on my neck released, a hand that I didn't even notice was there. I mean, it was a very physical feeling.
Just the whole weight, like relief.
Yeah, I felt like I had sod like on my chest, and someone peeled it off that I hadn't noticed was even there. So it was not just an emotional and a mental realization. It was very physical. And I felt this incredible wave of peace. And then I found myself talking about happy memories of her, and which had never happened in trauma therapy. You know, it's going, and the therapist just let me go, and that nothing has been the same since that therapy set. It changed everything. So it kind of takes the reader from my journey of finding my daughter to and all of the things I tried, and all of the things I did, and all of the gratitude I felt for the amazing support that I got, and some things that didn't work for me so well. And I was at first very hesitant to include things that people said or did that were not helpful, because I didn't want to shame anyone, because I knew they didn't do it maliciously. I knew we're so grief illiterate in our culture. I knew, you know, they meant well, they just didn't know what to do, and I didn't want to shame anyone. But I realized eventually that it was necessary, because the question I'd been asked more than any other question, hands down, without contest, no other question even comes close, is what's the worst thing people said or did? I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands of people have asked me that, and I realize they want to know, so they know what not to do. And because we don't know what to do when someone's grieving or has experienced a horrific tragedy. We want to help and we mean well, but it's just nothing we've been taught, and we've kind of pathologized grief. And so I realized I had to address it, and with the caveat that, you know, these people aren't to be shamed or judged. They were doing the best they could. You know, we don't teach our children these things, and I really want that to be different. And
Yeah,
so I did
100%.
include it, and because I think it's important. But that was a whole process I had to go through, because I was very hesitant to include it at first. But so it goes through all the things I did to
Yeah, if you
heal
want to
in
write
my.
it, write it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's an educational resource as well. You know, you can't, you know, it's for a greater good. You know, it's going to teach others and inspire others as well. So if they go through the same thing, they know, you know, so it's a very good thing. Hmm.
Yeah, and I had to go through a lot to get, and a couple of editors had to nudge me like, no, people need to know. And I think, you know, they both said, I think it's very clear that you're not shaming these people and that you're
It'd be
explaining
different.
what.
It'd be
Yeah,
different if like this person said it. This is the Twitter handle. Go get them, man.
yeah. And when I you know, I started writing this, but it originally started, originally started writing a blog, and this like cancel culture thing and this like pile on did not exist to that level back then, but it sure does now. So I'm glad I wrote that before, you know, the last couple of years when it's gotten really bad. But
It's
I'm
really
healed enough now.
good.
I don't care if someone comes after me. It's clearly a troll if they do, and it's, you know,
And if they
I
try and do, they've got me to get through as well because I'm a big advocate now for Melissa, and you know nobody will be nasty to her. All right.
thank you, and they better not mess with you either. I'll mama bear them. So what are some of the things that you have felt? I'm going to turn it on you. What are some of the things that you've done that you feel have uh, helped you overcome your horrific traumas, being abused and locked up and.
Well, it's the same in that sense, like writing it all down. It's been my catharsis, really. You know, speaking my truth in that sense because I was told to not talk about it. Literally, the staff used to say, "Oh, nobody will believe you," and "Oh, well, if you write
Mhm.
complaints, you know, I'm not going to go into explicit detail, but if you put complaints in the hospital, they used to like do worse things because they knew, and it was kind of ingrained in me up until about 5 or 6 years ago to just nobody wants to know about what went on, you know what I mean? But I do write about it now, and it feels freeing because I couldn't care less. I write for me. It's good to have followers, but I do write for me. The other
Mhm.
things that I do, rapping and stuff, that's for publicity. But knowing that I got through that trauma, it's the biggest thing. Like, you know, metaphorically speaking, I have shut that page of my life because I can speak confidently about it now, but maybe 6 years ago I would not have managed this. I would be, you know, just suicidal talking about it, you know,
Yeah.
because it was ingrained abuse and it's like it's corruption and institutionalization. And I talk about it a lot on my channel. It does shock people, but it goes on. You know, people are put in institutions, albeit a lot of people do try their best. I'm not hating all nurses because I've got a friend who's a nurse, but a lot of the time evil does go on and it's like people are told to be quiet and then it just continues to go on. And if you can imagine years and years of that, I've got trust issues, and I think I always will. If I meet a woman that was a nurse, I'm like, you know, I do get a bit scared, but I always have to remind myself that not everyone's the same
Yeah, that is.
because it's my dad as well. Sorry to interrupt. My dad as well went through the trauma because they used to bully him. Like they used to say, "Oh no, you're not visiting your daughter," and that. And if I wrote a complaint, um, they used to like lie to my dad. They used to say, "Oh no, you're not allowed to visit at the moment." So like I went months without seeing him sometimes just because I wrote complaints.
Wow.
I know.
They're like gaslighting both of you, basically. Oh,
And it still
sweetheart,
goes on.
so
It still goes on.
sorry.
Sorry, it still goes on in the system. And that's why I've made this YouTube channel. This is why I speak out. I mean, I think it's funny what censorship though, because on Facebook, yesterday, I posted a status saying, promotion of my book, basically, the new memoirs coming out about the abuse, and it got deleted.
Really?
Honestly, yeah, I've got a screenshot of it. It says, this post goes against our guidelines.
Wow.
I find it a lot better on Twitter, although we'll see about Instagram, because even that.
Yeah, there's
We'll
endless
see.
porn and gun violence. That's crazy. I'm so sorry.
I think certain keywords, I think I might have put abuse and stuff because it tags it and it got deleted.
Oh my.
Sorry, just be careful as well, because if you write stuff, like anybody, I've noticed Rachel as well, like Rachel Thompson, I follow her, yeah, you follow her as
Yeah.
well. She's had it like certain tag words and then it just flags up and it gets removed. I think it's a robot that does it.
Wow. This world we're living in.
Yeah. You was born in the 60s, is that right? Yeah.
I was born in 69, the very end of it. Someone just wrote in a question. This is my cousin. Hi, Amy. This
Hey,
isn't on
Amy.
this. This isn't the same topic, but how do you try to cure an adolescent that's addicted to drugs? Wow, that is really probably beyond the scope of this conversation. And
I mean, I'll be honest, Tim. I mean, I was addicted to drugs.
Okay,
Not,
go. You
not,
talk about it.
not addicted to drugs as in like that, but I used to smoke a lot of really strong cannabis,
Mm-hmm.
like, and it made me quite paranoid. So I just had to wean myself off it. But I, I did speak to people about it and was quite honest.
Mm-hmm.
And they took me to a centre in where I was from, and it was mainly talking therapies because there was a reason why I was smoking that,
Mm-hmm.
and it was again the abuse and the trauma. So I had to work through that, and then I don't feel the need to escape in my mind. Some people tend to alcohol, some people tend to self-harming, some people do all sorts. And for me, smoking, that was what was needed. But I don't now, not as much. I still do, but not the same substance that it was because it was that real artificial cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they call it over there, but yeah.
Mm.
But I
Well,
mean,
Amy,
I'm not
go
a
ahead.
doctor, Amy, but you have to, be honest to the people and maybe start to look at the reasons why you're taking drugs if it's you. But I'm not a doctor, so.
Yeah, Amy, you'll really need to consult an addiction specialist, and I can talk to you more about that after this video, so don't take Michelle too far afield of her intended
I'm not
topic.
right.
But that is, I truly understand what a deep concern that is, but it really does require addiction specialist. And I know that trauma is almost always at the bottom of any kind of addiction or destructive habits. But I'll reach out to you privately, Amy, about that. And what did you have any other questions, Michelle, or do you
I was
have
just
something
waiting
you
for you
want?
to finish speaking to Amy, but yeah. No, but yeah, continue asking me questions. Continue asking me questions. I mean, I've
Okay.
got a few more. You've got that many qualifications. I mean, you've studied psychology, you've studied Oriental medicines, acupuncture. You
Mm-hmm.
own a business that
Mm-hmm.
does that. You own Aga stock, or is that how you pronounce it?
Agastock.
Aga stock.
My daughter called her Binky Aga. We don't know
Yeah.
why. And
Mm-hmm.
so when she died, she died only 11 days after her birthday. And I thought, about 5 months after she died, I thought, wow, that 11-day period is probably going to be rather challenging every year because I suspected that the birthdays were going to be tough and the death day and they were so close together. And that was, you know, an additional part of the trauma. I was standing under her birthday banner when they pronounced her dead. You know, and your brain can't sort that out. I kept yelling, but it was just her birthday, which, you know, of course doesn't matter, but you know, it doesn't make sense to you that, that it could even happen. And also we had no, you know, she didn't have an illness really. So anyway, I thought I need to do something positive, at that time of year to help me make it through that. Oh, that's her in the background. That's at her birthday party just 10 days before. Um, so I thought I'm going to raise money for this counseling center that helped me so they can help more people. And I wanted them to be able to train more trauma therapists because it helped me, but I did have to wait because they were understaffed. And I contacted them and said, if I raise money for you, can it be earmarked to train more therapists in these trauma therapies? And they said, absolutely. And I have a lot of friends that are musicians and in that business. And I contacted a few friends and said, you know, I want to raise money. I want to do a concert. I'm going to call it Augustock, like Woodstock, but she called her Binky Aga. And she loved it so much. And the whole thing was booked and scheduled and ready in like 2 days. It just was one of those things that like, wow, I didn't know, you know, I was expecting it to take months. And I thought, well, that's meant to be. And, you know, during COVID, I haven't been able to do the concerts, but I continue to raise money. And in fact, on the 30th, this Saturday, they've asked me to present an award at their gala to the woman who founded the trauma training program, which is a huge honor. So
You're getting quite famous over there, definitely.
I don't know about that, but it's an incredible honor to be able to help, and it really did make a difference for me those 2 years to kind of. There's one thing that I think this is universal for parents who have lost children. You are terrified that you're going to forget things because we all forget things. You know, we forget things from our own childhood. And so much happens in a day, and they grow up so fast, and generally they do. And you know, you're terrified that you'll forget. You're terrified that other people will forget your child, and you know, you're destroyed that they don't get to live out their own legacy. And so it was really very healing for me, knowing that I was helping people that I would never meet, that would never even know who I was, in her memory. And that still helps me to this day. And it's why I do most of what I do. I mean, if you write, you know, even if it only connects to one person and helps one person, then it was worth writing it down. And, you know, so everything I do is in the hopes that it can help somebody else or help somebody help a friend. I've had a few friends that have reached out to me and said, oh, you know, because of your blog or whatever, this thing you said when my friend lost their baby, I knew to do this, and they were really grateful. And so these things have a ripple effect that we may never know, and we don't need to know. But if we mean, you know, if we intend to help and if we intend to heal, that ripple will go and go and go and go. And that's what I want to be a part of. I don't want to be part of the like troll culture and beating people down. So pretty much everything I do is in the hopes that, you know, it'll ripple down to someone that I'll never know and help them.
Exactly, yeah. Excuse me. I can relate to that. Yeah, it's the biggest thing that we can do, you know, use our experiences to educate and stop others from giving up.
Mm-hmm. And
And I've
hopefully
got it.
stop the things that caused it in the first place. Oh, wow, that's beautiful.
Never give up.
Never give up.
Yeah.
You are indomitable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any kind of date do you think when the book will be released?
Well, I have to get an agent first, and that hasn't happened yet. So slowly but surely. I'm starting a Twitter Spaces on
Mhm.
Thursday. Will be my first one.
Well, I
Um,
tell you, I mean, you're looking for a good agent. I mean, I can send you some resources that I know. I mean, there's an agent match website called agentmatch.com, and there's Writers and Artists Yearbook. They do them each year. Not sure if it's just UK, but I'm sure they do USA as well. And they're all every agent that wants to be listed. So it's a massive book. It's literally about that thick.
oh wow.
And it's got every agent in it. And agentmatch.com, it does cost to be on there.
Hmm.
But again, all of them. But just be careful, you're not scammed and stuff, because a lot of people say that they're agents when they're not. So
Yep.
you really have to do your research. So yeah, it
Yep.
could be a long process, but for the people watching this video back, I have put Melissa's links in the description because she is running a business. And if you are in the California area, and check out what she does, and maybe it could help you in your recovery as well. She also has a few articles on there, and yeah,
Yeah, and you can find the link to my blog is on
yeah,
there, which
the link to the blog as well. But
and
by the way, I'll say this: your Instagram link. When I clicked on it, it was just a white screen.
oh, I'll let my web person know
Yes.
that.
Oh,
That
do you not design it? No.
pardon me.
Was it? Did you not design it?
Oh no, 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 no. Your friend Melissa is
Oh.
not techie. My first response to any tech problems is to cry, and then when my tears don't magically fix the problem, because they strangely never do, then I get help. I'm not very techie. It's important to know your limits and what you have the time and patience for. And I am very happy to pay to source that work out to someone that understands it better than I do, so I can focus on the things that I'm
Mm,
good at. But something your listeners may want to know, I'm starting a Twitter Spaces
yeah.
that will be recorded for a podcast, and the podcast will hopefully start next month. Twitter Spaces, Child Loss Chat, and those will be recorded. There'll be an interview with someone and then a Q&A with the listeners. That will start Thursday, 2 p.m. Pacific time. And the podcast is going to be called This Club Sucks. Supporting grief long after the lasagnas are gone. Um, because I also realized there was, in addition to needing support, a lot of people kind of looked at me to tell me how to support them, and I can do that now. I'm far enough down the road, but
Mm,
in the early days, right after, especially if it's an unexpected death or a traumatic
mhm.
death, that person doesn't know their name.
Yeah.
I remember finding myself in the hallway, and I couldn't remember why I was in. This is like 12 hours after. I was in the hallway, and I couldn't remember why I was in the hallway. I was standing there like, why am I in the? I came here for something,
That's a
and I couldn't
normal
remember
thing.
why I was in the hallway. And I left the hallway, and I was like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom. That's why I was in the hall, and I needed to go through the hallway to get to the bathroom. And I realized in the next second, oh, my brain's so broken that I forgot I had to go to the bathroom on the way to the bathroom. And that's when I knew like I couldn't be in charge of anything. But so I was kind of in that state of like true shock, and people wanted me to tell them what to do, and I couldn't. I mean, I didn't even remember I had to go to the bathroom. So um,
I
you
can
know,
relate to that as well. Just standing there thinking,
why am
when I
I
came out of the hospital, just like I don't know what my life is. I don't know why I'm just here. But it was. I just used to. I can't describe it. I felt like I was just like a ghost floating about, like with no place. Do
yeah.
you know what I mean? I didn't know
Hmm.
anything.
Yeah, we dissociate,
Mm.
um, and it's a real thing. Unfortunately, some of these words get tossed around, um, and people say, "Oh, I was so shocked," and or I was traumatized when the show ended,
I
or
don't like it when
it,
people seem traumatized. It's
and
like you've not had real trauma. Oh, it makes me angry.
yeah, it's a little, we all do it, and
Mm,
but it is unfortunate because then when people need to use it, in its
mm,
true intended sense, the meaning gets watered down a
yeah.
bit. But
Mhm.
I think that's human nature, and it's probably been like that forever. So um, yeah, you just want people to. So I'm not just writing it for people who have gone through something, but for people that want to understand. What I actually hope is that people read it before the shit hits the fan for them, so that they have some ideas of stuff that may work for them
Mhm.
because if we live long enough, the shit's going to hit the fan for all of us. We're all going to lose somebody. But if you live longer than my daughter did, we're all going to lose somebody. We're all going to go through some shit we'd rather not go through. Um, it's Life can get yucky sometimes, and the more you understand about how to support yourself and others before the shit hits the fan, the faster you can get the resources, and the better able you'll be able to express to your peer group what you need, and the better they'll be able to just look at you and go, she can't say what she needs because she's dissociated. And so I know that I have to hold her shoulder and look her in the eye and force eye contact to like bring her back into the room. So my hope is that people that haven't had a similar trauma will also read it so that we can all start to understand grief is not a pathology. Grief happens when we love someone, and we're all going to lose people we love. And I know that is not as fun to hear as endless conversations about the Oscar slap or lipstick or football, but it's the truth. And it's really important that we stop pathologizing grief and start getting people earlier access to trauma care, because it's so treatable, and the earlier you get to it the better and the less destructive. But untreated trauma is really at the root of almost all of our societal problems.
I know you don't want to go into too much politics, and I won't. But all I can say, I'm going to add to that is, like I said, in my country, it's getting worse. I mean, the waiting lists, they don't take it seriously. They don't take trauma seriously. They say to people, well, you just, it's if you've, when people have a death, or when there's been a serious incident. Like I had a friend that was sexually assaulted, in about 2 years ago now, and she was expected to go back to work within about 12 weeks.
I had to go back 11 days after.
See, they don't take it
I
seriously. You know what I mean?
I shouldn't have even been driving a car. When I look back, I
No,
should not have been driving a car. I shouldn't have
no.
been in charge of buying food at a grocery store. I mean, some of my friends said, I don't know how I did it. I mean, but I shouldn't have been doing it. That I know that it's not okay. Um, I'm very lucky that something bad didn't happen, because I should not have been.
Well, I do believe in the spirits, and like I said, it's you're obviously here for a reason, and obviously that was the good spirits, like saying, you have to stay here and write the book, and it'll help so many people and possibly be a bestseller.
I hope it will help some people, and I hope anything. I I just hope to help people. There's so much pain, and but there is help, and there is hope, and my
Hmm.
goal is to have a trauma therapist in every single school, or more. Some neighborhoods need many, because
Well,
the
I'm
earlier
hoping
we get trauma
I'm,
treatment for folks, the less problems they will have, and we will have as a society.
well, I'll tell you this: if I ever do get enough money, like I will donate to the cause and start being a donator if I ever get enough money to do that. Because
Oh,
why
it's
not?
very sweet.
That's a promise. That is a promise, and I always keep my promises. So
I
you know,
believe you. You're a
uh,
wonderful person, Michelle,
thank you.
and I'm very proud of you.
You don't know me too well, but thank you. Yeah, it makes me a bit shy.
Well, I know resiliency when I see it, and you've lived through a lot, and you're doing great work, and you should be very proud of yourself. And I'm happy we met.
Same.
And thank you for having me on today. I really appreciate it.
The book, I mean, have you got anything to read out? I mean, obviously, it's not. I mean, I'd like you to. I mean, if it's too upsetting, I understand. But you could read some out, and then in the future, I could even like make adverts, like to promote your book.
I don't have anything out. I don't know if I can do it without, oh, here, maybe this will work. I have something I could read, and it's actually a good way to wrap up.
I'd like
Um,
that. Yeah.
um, that is not in the book, but related. And it's called I Did Not Forget Her. Let's see if I can get it on without dumping our connection.
No, I didn't
uh,
mean that. I mean, read some of your manuscript so people know what to expect.
this will be it'll be like this. Oh my gosh, my computer's freaking out. Let's see if I can get it. Here we go. You can chat while I try to troubleshoot this.
Are you on your computer? Yeah.
I am trying to be on my computer while
What-
okay, here we
Is
go.
this you on your iPhone and on your laptop?
Yeah, I've got it up now. Okay, so this is I guess it's kind of a poem that I wrote about 3 years after she died. I had so many people said to me, you know, I don't, I feel like I shouldn't bring up Alice to you or say her name because I don't want to remind you and I don't want to make you cry. And I thought, well, you can't make me cry. You're not the one that killed my daughter. But so many people said things like that to me that I wrote this. I did not forget her. You cannot remind me of a great loss I never forgot in the first place. So fear not. You can remove that responsibility from yourself right now. Nothing you can say can remind me of a love that has never left my mind, my heart. My loss has nothing to do with you, dear friend, and I mean that in the kindest way possible. What makes you think you have that much power over another person's feeling and memory? Rest assured you do not, nor do I hold that power over you. Would you forget? Do you imagine that you would forget your own flesh and blood? Hint, you wouldn't. Would you forget you once had an arm if you lost that? Doubtful. Would you forget you once had an able body when you were bedridden? Nope. Would you forget you once brought forth 7.5 pounds of bliss into this world with all its blood and guts and shit and sweat and pain and gore, which you barely even noticed because looking into those brand new fresh eyes was the most profound thing you ever experienced in your measly life? Would you forget a thing so perfect in its beauty and purity that it made you forget every bit of pain and suffering you ever endured? Would you forget a person that brought forth from you a perfect love, the kind of love you hear about and pray to God you'll get to experience one day? Do you think once you felt it, you would ever in your life forget the source of that love? You would not, and nor will I, so do not expect me to do so. And never think that you would be the reason I remembered the pain of the loss of her. The pain is my own for the loss of the love that was her. You would not forsake the love for a being that could awaken those feelings in you. You wouldn't want to forget if you could. You would find a way to love a being that you could no longer see, touch, taste, smell, hear. And when you would find a way, or ways, perhaps, if you were very lucky, you would find a way to express your love for that being, and nothing or no one will ever get you off that track again because it's the hardest, most important thing you've ever learned to do. It's showtime. The rest of your life is just practicing scales, getting ready for this song. A song no one wants to write in the first place, but here you are, hundreds of eyes on you while you take a stage no one wants to play. Create it or die or live life with an unbeating heart. You would choose life, but barely at first. It feels like cheating on your departed love when you first begin to really choose life. But your new skills you never wanted, thank you very much, teach you how to make tangible your love of the unseen. You can love both now, seen and unseen. It feels like you uncovered some secret power. So you would choose life a little bit more. But you would never forget her. The love never dies. It never diminishes even a fraction of a percent. You would long for someone to speak her name so that you had a tangible way of communicating that love. As for me, even if not one other soul speaks her name to me again, I will not forget her. I do not want to. I never will. And my friend, I beg you to remember her with me. Alice Marie Ferguson, July 26, 2011 to August 6, 2013. That's it.
Wow. She was definitely loved, and she will
Oh,
always be loved.
she was loved. All she knew was love. And I comfort myself with that. She didn't know that the bankers fucked up the entire global economy. She didn't know about malice and murder, and all she knew was love. It's not a bad way to live.
Striking writing.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's deep. That really, it did what it was supposed to do.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Michelle. I really appreciate it, and I'm just really taken with your story, and it means a lot to me to help you in your mission to be a mental health advocate.
And me help you in your mission as well. Because if there's anything I can do to uplift your book, I will.
Thank you very much, and vice versa.
You'll be okay, yeah?
Oh yeah, I'll be okay. And you too?
Yeah. I'm gonna have some coffee, like iced coffee.
Very nice.
All right, we'll end it there now. But I mean this. Give me a message if you want to chat right afterwards.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me. This was lovely, and I'm very impressed with the work that you're doing.
You too.
Thank
Although
you.
you need to get better at using iPhones and stuff, because some of the messages just disappear.
Okay. I will. I'll do my best. Some of that I think is not me. So some of that is platform stuff. But I will get better.
All right, it's been a lovely chat.
It has. Thank you so much, Michelle.
You too.
Have a good night.
You too. Take care.
Take care.